Evening, everyone. Okay. Hold on a second. Okay, my door is shut now, so I will be having interruptions. Some minor interruptions. I could still get somebody bursting in my door. But anyway, this is a book review on The Diamond Secret by Suzanne Weyn. This is, as I told you before, a retelling of the Anastasia, a retelling of Anastasia. The the history of what happened to the Romanov family, Tsar Nicholas Romanov II, and his family, and because they're before obviously back here, when you read these kind of books in the Once Upon a Time series from Simon Pulse, the teen teen section of their publishing department. She every book has this historical author's historical notes, where they would take their information from to make it into this. It says here, apparently it was rumored that one of the four daughters, the Grand Duchess Anastasia, still lived, was popular in the years following the royal assassinations because the only remains of three daughters could be identified when the bodies buried in the woods were uncovered. So there's that. But since then, modern DNA testing and new discoveries have proven that Anastasia did not survive that night. But you never know. I shouldn't be looking back, but so yeah, this to write this book, this is taken from historical fact and some writing liberties of what could possibly happen, because she supposedly could not have survived that night, but it says here that it doesn't even say in here that they have recovered. They found the fourth body of the missing daughter, so she could possibly still be out there. And I'm sure everyone's heard the most famous woman claiming to be Anastasia is Anna Anderson. I even remember hearing that on a kind of historical document thing about it. I just saw a clip from it. So as I said in the other previous vlog, book review, this did have it did remind me of the Don Bluth animated movie on Anastasia. It stayed true to that story that I've known for years, basically. So, but it's at the same time, it stayed true to that story plot that I've known and that I really love. Hold on a sec. the trouble of living at home and having to look after your sister and your parent calling you. So, yes, part of me really liked this book, but another part of me is like, it didn't pull me in. It didn't pull me in like the animated movie does. Probably because it didn't have all of the action that I have known from the movie. I find it missed elements that, pulls you in, makes you love these characters more. Yeah. But I do, I have difficulties. But I guess what I tried to say, or what I want to say is, I do recommend reading this book. You should read it. It's good. I don't know about buying it, but I do believe this is a very good story. And just sorry, I have nothing completely positive about this book, but I don't have anything negative about this book. So it goes, yeah. I would read this again, but I don't think I'll actually buy it. But I definitely am going to buy the movie because I still don't have it. Yeah, that was this book. It's a very nice book. I will not be buying it, so it is going off my list. But now I'm on to this book. The Rose Bride by Nancy Holder. I was about to say Nancy Atherton because the anonymity book. So no, this is Nancy Holder. Holder, as it is spelled on the video. Spell it on the video. This is a retelling of The White Bride and the Black Bride. So, when I read the original fairy tale, and the Black Bride is like stepsister to the White Bride, and that the Black Bride, her mother is involved, and I guess they kind of all meet this one person, and coincidentally he falls in love with White Bride, and like something happened. I think they are to be married, but I'm not 100% sure. I can't remember the fairy tale. Not 100%. I know, just pulling teeth from my brain. And so the mother of the Black Bride, kills her. This is in the fairy tale, and somehow the male, the groom, marries the Black Bride, and like thinks that's his bride, the one he fell in love with. And then they're at their home, and this swan comes to the kitchen door, and somehow the cook doesn't kill this bird, and is brought to the groom. I'm just gonna say the groom because I can't remember if it was a prince or a duke or whatever that. So I'm just saying groom. And he does something, and she magically turns back into a human, and they live happily ever after. So that's this book. There's another Rose fairy tale, which is called The White Rose and the Red Rose. and they're actually blood sisters that are kind of living on their own, and they meet this bear whom they rescue, and then they come across this gnome who is very, very, very angry. And like they seem to rescue him the first time, or like they do something, but then they rescue him, and so he kind of leaves them alone. And then they come across the bear again. They talk, stuff like that. So like they meet him almost every day, kind of thing. And then they come across the gnome character again, and he's very angry with them. And somehow I think either they don't help him or they cause something to him to be trapped or something like that. So there's a reason for him to want to cause them harm. And then the bear comes to take down the gnome thing. And something. The gnome is defeated. And then the older sister, I can't remember if that's the red or white rose, but whatever. One of them, I think, kisses the bear, and then he magically turns into a man. And supposedly they just stay friends. And they live happily ever after. That's the other Rose story that I know. And they don't have they don't do that story in the retelling story, Once Upon a Time. So yeah. But that gives me an idea to do a retelling of that story. Because since reading that fairy tale, I have ideas about it. But anyway, let's get back to this. Okay, so when Rose's mother dies, her only comfort is the exquisite rose garden her mother left behind. The purple blossoms serve as an assurance of her mother's love. But Rose is dealt a second blow when her father dies, and his greedy widow, Ombre, Ombrine, I think it's spelled Ombre, and her daughter, Desiree. I'm not sure, but I'll spell it out for you. It's Desire, E with a accent over the top, and then another E after that. No accent over it. I believe it's Desiree. It's a French thing. There's a lot of French speaking in this book, but then so I've only read like 3 chapters plus a prologue, so like 4 chapters, because I'm about to start chapter 4. So, but there's a lot of Greek reference in here. So like the mother's garden, she apparently is a disciple of Artemis, and her father is a disciple of Hermes. So there's a lot of involvement with that. And they also mentioned, like in the prologue, they mentioned disciples of Zeus. So I can't tell if they're in France or something like that, but they occasionally speak some French with Greek gods and goddesses splashed into there. So I just thought I'd say that since I'm reading a French name. Anyway, mother dies, Ombre, her daughter Desiree move in and take over the manor in true Cinderella fashion. Fate has been cruel to Ombre and Desiree too. Desiree too. So despite their harsh ways, Rose has compassion. But these feelings are bitterly tested when, in rage, Ombre tears out the garden. Rose nearly gives up all hope, until a chance meeting with the king. Happiness might be within her reach, but first she must prevail over Ombre, and then she must determine if she has courage to love. So, from that, it doesn't sound like the fairy tale that I read. But I do remember, but I know there's got to be something about her turning into a swan and this Desiree marrying the king's son. So yeah, there's got to be something along the lines of that. So I'm a little confused at this moment, and I bet you're a little confused at the moment too with my little explanation. Hopefully we will not be confused when I do the book review on this. So, yeah. I'm on to this book right now. The Rose Bride by Nancy Holder. With French and Greek mixed in. Yeah. Goodbye.